what I hear from companies is that while they might be moving into an era of green hushing, that is not making a big noise about doing actions for the sake of decarbonization, they're actually doubling down on the investments that they're making. I'm Vijay Vaitheeswaran. I'm the Global Energy and Climate Innovation Editor of The Economist, author of a few books on the topics related to innovation. And I've also had the opportunity to follow globalization very closely, having been a bureau chief in China, in Mexico City during the era of NAFTA, and having tracked the pace of deglobalization and slowbalization, as we call it at The Economist. And so this is interesting times in which we live indeed. The current global ructions over policy and industrial or otherwise come at a time when, in fact, we had made tremendous progress in investing in cleaner technologies. In 2024, we saw $2 trillion invested in clean energy technologies globally, double the amount that went into oil and gas. We saw the United States, 90% of the electricity generation capacity installed in the US last year was carbon-free. And this is true even in places like Texas, which is a largely free market state, quite a Republican state, where it is now the leading state for solar, wind, and battery installation, surpassing California, which does have strong policy support. So we're seeing a flywheel effect from the pricing having been brought down, but as well in terms of market incentives taking off and companies betting on clean technologies. I'm willing to say that this is going to continue regardless of what happens with the IRA or other industrial policies in Congress and in the new administration, or what happens with the UN climate process, the so-called COP summits. The momentum behind clean energy technologies and future climate innovations is too strong. It is a good business case for investing in many of these places. In fact, in most places in the world, solar plus batteries are the cheapest way to make electricity compared to even baseload coal or baseload traditional fossil fuels. And so I think there is a momentum and logic to this. So broadly speaking, though industrial policies are challenged, and we are seeing something of a backlash in the US, in Europe too, it must be noted, tractors driven by farmers complaining that climate policies were raising fuel costs for them. And we all remember the Gilets jaunes protests on fuel costs. So there is a global concern about the cost of the energy transition that had been led by climate concerns. If we see the priority now shifting to security, that is energy security, making sure there's enough safe, reliable energy at an affordable price. Some people say that's the end of decarbonization or end of climate. I don't think so. I think because there's a huge security argument in favor of cleaner energies as well. We're seeing this dynamo or flywheel effect of technology, innovation, markets, investing, leading to solutions that have lower emissions, but mostly because they're domestic, they're more secure, and they make financial sense, not particularly because they're climate-oriented solutions. Some people may say, what's the point of organizing conferences? They're just talking shops, people fly in, wasting greenhouse gases, and we all have Zoom meetings. In fact, why even have Zoom meetings? We can just do AI deep research and have a report done for you, the equivalent of a PhD working for 2 weeks in 30 minutes can present all the information you need, right? We all know that's not true. Those are useful tools that augment and provide input. But the value of a conference like the one we've had today here at the Business School, but more broadly of convening people with contrasting points of view, is that you begin to see in fine-grained resolution, as well as sometimes in very stark black and white, the contrasts that we have a time in the global economy where we have very different perspectives on how we should move ahead on industrial policy, but more than that, on national priorities, on how to tackle the wicked global problems of our day, in which climate change is just one of them, the decarbonization challenge. There are others. How do we reorganize our security arrangements, for example, in the context of the Ukraine crisis or the Middle East? These problems will not be solved by Zoom, nor are they going to be solved by internet searches. We need to have thoughtful people come and in good faith come and have the kind of conversations that we've had here and really have breakthroughs. And I think already halfway through the day, I've already found 3 or 4 moments that I had my own mind changed on several points, and I could see the aha moment around the room as well.